What's good, YouTube? I'm LUISGUSTO. Welcome to Chicago's most expensive neighborhood. We decided to skip out on breakfast today and head straight for the brunch. We're at Chuco, an upscale restaurant on State and Superior. This was started by Chef Carlos Gaitan, the first Latino chef to ever get awarded a Michelin star. So I feel a certain kinship because I'm the first Latino YouTuber to get 10 million subscribers. At least that'll happen in a couple of years. And 10 million subscribers on YouTube is pretty much the equivalent to getting a Michelin star. Buenos dias desde River North, Chicago. We got a couple of imaginative dishes off their brunch menu that I'm so hyped to share with you. First and foremost, we got the duck waffle. This is duck leg carnitas with a Belgian waffle, some Brussels sprouts, poached egg, some sweet chipotle sauce up in there. And Narissa got a lobster tortilla. It's a lobster quesadilla. What was it? And Narissa got the lobster taco. Of course, we had to start off with a couple of coffee drinks. Normally I get a black coffee, but I wanted to switch it up because they had something on the menu called café de olla, which is essentially like a mulled wine, but with coffee instead of wine. Too early for wine, but never early enough for coffee. Boy, oh boy, I never imagined I would try a duck waffle for breakfast. Okay. That was an incredible meal at Chuco. The vibe was chill but lively, and I really like how the decor is kind of monotone. There are a lot of browns in there because all that color and cheeriness is coming from the dishes themselves. The duck waffle was something unlike I've ever had. I've had chicken and waffles before, and I've had Peking duck, but I've never had duck and waffle combined together, and it definitely was my very favorite poultry and pancake pairing. The duck waffle is one of those dishes that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. When I'm 80 years old doing my interview on PBS and how the whole career has spanned, I'm gonna say, you know, that duck waffle that I had when I filmed my second ever River North neighborhood guide, I still remember that to this day. And of course, the lobster taco was amazing. Both drinks that we got, the horchata latte, the café de olla, good drinks, good plates, dope atmosphere, all adds up in my book to a 5 Diamond Award. We are fully set up for an amazing day here in River North. So why don't you follow me, AKA keep watching, finesse that like button. Let's explore more of this great neighborhood. River North is arguably the least creatively named Chicago neighborhood. It literally is just a neighborhood north of the river. At least if it were in Manhattan, it'd be called something dope like Rhino. So maybe just for the sake of this video, let's you and I call it Rhino. I'm just playing before people in the car, oh, Chicago's so much better than New York. Forget about that, it was just a joke. If the first things you think of when somebody mentions the River North neighborhood are drinking, eating, and partying all day and night, maybe you need to come over to Holy Name Cathedral to ask for some blessings from up above. Holy Name Cathedral is the first name in Chicago churches. This is where all the Catholic celebrities come when they're in town, performing at the Chicago Theater or playing against the Bears. Personally, I've worshiped and prayed many times inside Holy Name Cathedral, and my best friend even got his daughter baptized here, so there are a lot of happy memories associated with this house of praise. Pope John Paul II himself visited in 1979 on back-to-back days, and they even have a plaque inside the lobby commemorating those visits. Imagine to be that famous and well-loved that you get a plaque just for showing up to a building. Well, I'm sure he did a little bit more. That's the level that we're trying to get at on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe because everyone counts. The church itself is a beautiful neo-Gothic design, amazing stained glass windows, huge organ that I hope to tickle the ivories at someday. We've visited many churches and cathedrals around the city, but this one right here is something special. So make sure you visit. Today we know River North as an expensive, ritzy neighborhood, but it definitely has a smoky past. In fact, it had the nickname Smoky Hollow for all the factories that were once in this neighborhood, just blowing smoke, where some days you couldn't even see the sunshine. There was actually a big pocket of Italian immigrants too around Illinois Street, and that part of the neighborhood was nicknamed Little Sicily. So a lot of cool little history to uncover. Definitely explore the architecture when you're here in River North. And matter of fact, we have plenty of other videos on this neighborhood, so make sure you check the playlist in the description below. And I'm continuing to talk despite all the sirens, and just to show y'all how focused I can be. The bridge right now is my stage, and there's an audience of one. She's behind the camera, and she's ever so lovely, Narissa. Spending the day living like a millionaire in River North is actually easier than you might think. There's plenty of fine dining, high-end boutique shopping, and you can even visit a Victorian-era mansion here at the corner of Erie and Wabash. The Driehaus Museum is one of my favorite museums in the entire city, and it's housed in the beautiful Nickerson Mansion that dates back to 1883. Y'all know how much I love historic, legendary mansions, so this one is right in my wheelhouse. Back in 1800s Chicago, if you were a mogul of any kind, this might have been the neighborhood for you. So why don't we go inside and relive the Gilded Age. MTV Cribs, welcome to the Nickerson Mansion. When it was built in 1883, the Nickerson Mansion cost about $500,000, which in today's money is close to what Mr. Beast makes per each upload. We're standing in the main hall of the house, which by the way has the nickname the Marble Palace. In my own home plans, I hope to have some marble in the kitchen. I think it's a great material, and apparently I'm not alone. What I really love about the Driehaus Museum is that this home is still surrounded by a working, thriving neighborhood with lots to do. We've been to historic mansions where everything around has been demolished and it's a parking lot with a little historic house in the middle. And as a matter of fact, Kitty Corner is the Cable House, which is another historic mansion here in Chicago. Now, why would you want to come and spend some time at the Driehaus Museum? Well, I'll tell you why. Not only is it a great place for reflection, for learning, you can also get some fire social media pictures. And I know all of y'all care about your stories and your reels and your TikToks. So why not do a polite one standing in front of this beautiful staircase? Just like our Manhattan condo, the Nickerson Mansion is full of exquisite rooms, and the Mayor Gallery is one such room. It has a beautiful stained glass dome and an amazing fireplace that's done in the Art Nouveau style. There's actually a lion hidden back there if you could spot it. But the animal references don't stop there, because after the original family moved out, the next family renovated this room and turned it into a game trophy room. Not the kind of game trophies that you win playing Halo, but rather hunting. So there were elk heads, bison heads, maybe even dodo birds. There are also many books in here, and you know I could get down with a room full of books. As an avid reader myself, I'm actually still working on the Comedian's book, which is the history of American comedy from vaudeville, and I made it to the 1960s. So pretty soon, I'll be done with the book, and then I gotta return it to the library. We've done quite a bit of eating on this channel, but we've never been in a dining room quite so elegant as the one you'll find in the Nickerson Mansion. The table, believe it or not, is original to the house. Now the trinkets on top aren't exactly things that you could find at Bed Bath & Beyond. What I'm trying to say is that they're rare, valuable, and exquisite. While they weren't filming mukbangs and food reviews back in the day, this would make an amazing spot to do that. Unfortunately, I currently don't have enough subscribers, so if y'all could do me a favor and hit that little button, we can get ever so closer to dining in mansions. There's a hidden door in this dining room where servants once came to serve pizza, fish and chips, and Chicago-style hot dogs. Now, I'm not gonna show you where that hidden door is. You gotta come to the museum and find it for yourself. But when I found it, it felt like I was getting an A+ on my high school essay. There are so many details in this room, we'd be here for an hour just talking through them all. But one in particular that I wanna point out is the lincrusta on the walls. What is lincrusta? As you run to Wikipedia, don't, because I'll tell you what it is. It was invented by the man who invented linoleum. I've had plenty of linoleum floors in my New York and Chicago apartments, and let me tell you, it's not my favorite material on earth. But once I saw this lincrusta, I was like, let's put this man in the Hall of Fame because it is such a beautiful material. What a way to decorate your walls. We kind of grew up looking at 70s sitcoms with the floral wallpaper, and now we got blank white drywalls where you gotta put up a Backstreet Boys poster just to have some kind of decoration in your apartment. Let's bring back lincrusta. Maybe some Etsy sellers who are watching, get your hands on the material, make something beautiful, and make an affiliate link and I'll sell it for you. I'll be the new millennium's new lincrusta spokesperson. Lincrusta, when white walls simply aren't enough. Nowadays, most people just eat their TV dinners in front of a big screen TV, watching whatever reality program might be on. But imagine dining in such an elegant, majestic, lovely room with a conservatory next door where you can pick your fresh basil, maybe bring flowers for the lady, dog running in and out, servants bring in fine foods from all over the world. And there's actual discussion. Let's talk about the World's Fair that's coming up. I hear there'll be a Ferris wheel, a circular ride that stretches 500 feet tall. I say, pass the mustard, no ketchup.
Now this is better than any Architectural Digest home tour that we have ever seen on YouTube. Now let's go upstairs.
On the second floor, you'll find the bedrooms of the mansion. The one we're standing in right now has west-facing windows, so I imagine back in the 1800s, you could see prairie as far as the eye would go, as well as a bison or two, maybe munching on that delicious and nutritious prairie grass, some majestic sunsets. I'm not sure if there are buildings blocking all that view now, but don't take that away from me. It's a really lovely picture that I've painted for myself. Nowadays, you can see the rotating exhibits of the Driehaus Museum. Currently, there's an exhibit on Louis Sullivan, one of my favorite architects of all time. I know it's kind of weird to have favorite architects of all time. Most people debate whether Michael Jordan or LeBron James was the greatest of all time. In our house, we debate whether Louis Sullivan or Daniel Burnham was the GOAT. Now, there are Louis Sullivan buildings that you can find in Chicago, as well as one in New York City that we recently highlighted. We did a special New York video where we pointed out all the things that you can do to make it feel like Sweet Home Chicago, and we included in that tour Louis Sullivan's only building in New York, the Bayard Condic Building, which is on Bleecker Street in NoHo. And in this exhibit, there are photos of his great works, like the Chicago Stock Exchange, fragments of the buildings that once stood proudly in the city of the big shoulders. Now, you only have until May of 2023 to catch this, so if I were you, I'd be on the horn right now with the Driehaus Museum securing those tickets. Otherwise, if you missed this one, if you happen to be watching this in 2030, well, I'm sure they have something very beautiful, maybe an exhibit on the time I came to the Driehaus Museum and filmed for my YouTube channel. Hey, I'm just wishfully thinking right here. I want that diamond play button, so make sure you hit that like button. As an unofficial student of architecture, I have to give big props to Louis Sullivan and Richard Nickel, the photographer who captured many of Louis Sullivan's buildings just before the wrecking ball sadly turned them into rubble. Let that be a lesson to all you photographers out there. Don't go into abandoned buildings, but make sure you're really passionate about your craft, because maybe one day a museum will do an exhibition about you. In When putting together travel itineraries, I love to put in things that are unique and special to a city. The Nickerson Mansion is definitely a Chicago treasure and something that you're gonna wanna put on your list. It's just steps from the Magnificent Mile, so you can do a little bit of shopping, go back to your hotel room, and then come and imagine what it would have been like to be a Victorian era superstar. Hey, how's it going? We're here to pick up tickets. I'm on a boat. We just boarded the Shoreline Sightseeing Architecture River Cruise. We are about to set sail on the beautiful waters of the Chicago River. I mean, I've been on plenty of river cruises in my day, including that famous one from the Mark Twain book. Today we're boarded on the Shoreline Sightseeing boat, about to take their 60-minute Architecture River Cruise. Big thanks to Shoreline Sightseeing for hosting us today. We cannot wait to set sail. Of all the cruise lines in Chicago, Shoreline Sightseeing has shown us the most love, and today we took their Architecture River Cruise.
Do you know this is having the lines with the jacket and not just been on film?
As we explained in the Chicago Maritime Museum, Chicago has a deep history when it comes to the waterways. The Chicago River and Lake Michigan both played huge roles in the building up of this city and putting it on the world stage. Hosted by Victor, who did a phenomenal job explaining the history and architecture that surrounds the river. We had a great time. We always love being on boats on Lake Michigan or on the Chicago River. It's just part of what we do, and we're bringing it more to the channel. As you can see, we got more of a nautical theme going. Pretty soon I'll have to get the whole fit, from the boat shoes to the striped shirt, little mimosa, and that little hat that they wear. Comment below if you want to see us rent out a yacht and just do a whole film about Chicago on the river and Lake Michigan. They have a full bar. You're gonna get great views of the city and just have a wonderful experience. Highly recommend it. It gets my rare non-restaurant 5 Diamond Award. It's always great to hop on a fun and exciting nautical vessel to explore the city of Chicago, get you off your feet and get you thinking differently. New viewpoints, I always like that. River North is a treasure trove of architectural gems, none bigger than the Merchandise Mart, an Art Deco masterpiece that's so massive it once had its very own zip code, and was built essentially to sell merchandise. Ironically enough, the entirety of what that building once did can be replaced by this little tiny smartphone. A little commentary on technology and architecture. You can interpret it however you want. Pardon me, do you happen to have any Grey Poupon? Because your boy who loves his beef came here today in River North to Bavette's Bar and Bouffe, arguably Chicago's #1 steakhouse. We're in the downstairs secret parlor, just beginning a glorious meal here We started off with some amazing sourdough bread, sweet cream butter, French press coffee, and now our starters are here. 6 East Coast oysters, a wedge salad that's been thoughtfully chopped up for us before we consume it. Now our main is here, the classic Chicago cut. This is a ribeye, I believe it's 16 ounces. Left my scale at home. We got it medium rare, of course, and on the side, some hand-cut frites with a garlic aioli. Not too much time for talking because we're about to do some steak consumption. We're gonna steak night. It's gonna be so right. It's such a treat. Steak is the world's best meat. Bavette's opened up in 2012, so they've got over a decade of experience serving up some of the best steaks to Chicagoans. We really enjoyed that meal. Obviously, the steak was the star of the show, that classic Chicago cut. Had some steak salt and some béarnaise sauce on the side. I can't speak highly enough of all the other things that we ate in there. The oysters from the East Coast, the wedge salad, sourdough bread with the sweet butter. We even had some French press coffee to make sure that we were fully caffeinated so we could enjoy each and every beef note. I can only imagine if we served up Rowdy a Chicago cut steak. Whew. He would just start running as fast as he can and just barking and growling everywhere. Besides the food, the atmosphere in Bavette's is undefeated. We ate in their downstairs parlor, beautifully dimly lit, great music, impeccable service. It's just a 5 Diamond Award winner, no question about it. I can see Bavette's as a place that we come to over and over again to celebrate hitting 1 million subscribers. And if you are enjoying this tour of River North Chicago, make sure you finesse that like button. Mi gente, we decided to have our evening festivities here at Jaleo, specifically their underground speakeasy, Pigtail. We're starting off on the easier side. I got myself a Hemingway daiquiri, one of my favorite drinks. Not that I have too many of them, but this would definitely be on that list. Narissa got an inverted dirty martini. It's got a liquid olive in there. We are chilling at the bar, enjoying the vibes, and having a great time in River North, Chicago. Cheers.
I think you might like my favorite cocktail, which is
Some good lime flavor in that one. And we've got lots of incredible bites. Obviously, with a name like Pigtail, you gotta figure they're gonna bring it when it comes to the pork. Thankfully, it's one of my absolute favorite foods. And what we got here is a spread that's gonna make the most avid pork lover blush. We had caviar with cauliflower puree inside a little pastry bite. Now we've got some croquetas de jamón with jamón ibérico on top, a couple of baos with jamón. We got some chicharrones and a beautiful dip over here, and some basically deconstructed Caesar salad, boquerones inside, lettuce with some Caesar. I mean, just combine these dishes have so many incredible ingredients. I wouldn't be doing them justice by sitting here and trying to list them all. But what I can say is we're having an incredible experience here at Pigtail. This is the type of vibe that we love, especially with my Spanish heritage. Being Latino is interesting because you could tell somebody that you've got a little bit of Spanish heritage, and right away, they're gonna respect you even more. Oh, maybe you come from a royal bloodline, which, yeah, by the way, I happen to. One of my great-great-grandfathers was a Spanish king. So we're just here enjoying all the bites and just sharing that with you out in Gusto Nation. So let's eat. Pigtail is a speakeasy that you wouldn't be used to because it's got a Spanish twist. It's brought to you by Chef Jose Andres, and we definitely have to give a huge shout out to Janitzo and Doug for taking care of us tonight. Every single tapa was delicious. And I really appreciated the blending of flavors, textures, and the stories behind the dishes. And the cocktails as well were quite enjoyable. We started with the rum-based ones, or at least I did, the Hemingway Daiquiri, the Anvil Sour. We ended with two of their signatures. One is a blend of an old-fashioned with Revolution beer, with a beautiful spherical ice. Ice sphere, I guess, is how you would refer to it. And we got their Melon Cloud, which is maybe their best experience in terms of cocktail. And I got all the B-roll footage, don't worry, so I don't have to sit here and paint you a picture and describe verbally what these cocktails were. It was our first time to this establishment, and it definitely won't be our last. If you want to experience some of this same magic that we showed you in cinematic form, widescreen, 4K, amazing color correction, that's, you know, a little bit for my cinema geeks out there. Sony, why don't you invite me to your camera camp, by the way? You have to come to Jaleo and Pigtail to experience all of this magic for yourself. Definitely one of the best things to do in River North, other than listen to sirens pass by, because obviously that's one of our favorite pastimes. So that's just a sample itinerary for your perfect day in River North, Chicago, the most expensive neighborhood in the Windy City. We like to throw in the life of luxury. Make sure you subscribe, and of course, we will see you next time. Peace.